Have you been hiding? Have you paused truly showing up and sharing? And are you waiting it out? And if there's any sense of what you are being called to share not fitting into the boxes of shoulds, of how the marketing experts and social media experts are telling you to show up, then I'm here to tell you that you are the next wave of how things are being shared on social media. The reason you're watching this now and you tuned into this video out of the billions of content that exists on the internet is because you are meant to be creating the new paradigm of content. What if the question, how to go viral, how to achieve the most success, how to make the most money in the shortest period of time, shifts into how can I be most fully expressed? How can I be most truly and generously expressing my essence out there in the world? I have been receiving some codes and downloads around this particular type of experience in my own life. And it's been opening so much in how I show up, what I share, and just making me feel so much more free around being somebody who shares my life, content, and work online. So, in this episode and YouTube video, I'm going to take you on a journey in which I share the codes that I received and have been learning to apply in my own life that have made a big difference. So, if you have been feeling like it's time for a bit of a stir up and a realignment and a reignition in how you share content, whether you're a content creator or an entrepreneur, a coach, or a healer, or an artist who uses the internet and social media to share your work out there in the world, this is for you. Enjoy. I've been thinking a lot about what has been happening in the world of social media. I remember getting on TikTok a little over 2 years ago and my account taking off, experiencing growth like I had never experienced before on any other social media platforms in my 15 plus years on social media, and feeling this sense of expansion and openness and totally new territory and new ways of growth and new horizons and heights to which we can go through sharing our worlds in short form video. Some of my videos got up to 50 million views. I got so many amazing brands that I ended up working with. I ended up teaching workshops, which was actually my most successful, most attended workshop of all time, where I taught my community how to express your unique medicine through the short form video content. And people are still taking that class actually and applying it. And I remember in the beginning when I started talking about the fact that short form video is the future before Instagram launched Reels, there was so much resistance. So many people were saying, not so much saying, but what was really underneath what they were saying is experiencing resistance to something new, resistance to trying something uncomfortable, being in the presence of having found something so comfortable and convenient and familiar and using Instagram the way they had been using it. So when video arose, people felt a lot of pressure to be on camera, show up in a way that wasn't comfortable. There was a lot of people who thought that the whole short form video content is all about pointing to things like this. And then we learned that there's so much more and you can bring your way of showing up to short form video content. I've seen so many people gain new careers, make friends, meet their husbands and wives through allowing themselves to get playful and experiment through short form video. I know that I ended up tapping into a whole new community and meeting so many friends and collaborators through short form video. It was like second life for my online presence. And so now that Instagram Reels has been out for over a year and a half or so. And most people are expressing themselves that way, naturally so, because it's the most favored type of content that you can post so that Instagram algorithm favors it. What happens in my experience, and I would love to know what you feel around this and what comes up for you, but my experience of scrolling on Instagram is everything is so fast paced. And there's a lot of the same music, the same formats. And even when the information shared is something that I would have previously been able to take in and be moved by because of how fast moving it is and how repetitive the outside shell of the content shared is, I'm not feeling open to receiving it. It's not landing. I don't have the space. I go on Instagram and I want to experience peace and remembering. And what I get is what feels like noise. And I know that a lot of creators are feeling this way. And a lot of creators are feeling the pressure to show up in ways that are not aligned with their souls, with who they are, with how they're used to showing up. And I think it's very important to separate the not readiness to go into the unknown, uncomfortable, and learn a new language of communicating your medicine, your essence, your magic online, and being playful while you do so, from this voice of should. So, for example, that voice might be saying that you should be making reels because that is the only way to make it as a coach, as a healer, as an entrepreneur, as a content creator. And having this story that if you don't, then your content will flop. Nobody will see your carousel, nobody will see your image, and that you're irrelevant. So, the question I want to ask you is, what has been stopping you from truly showing up and sharing your essence, sharing your message, sharing yourself, sharing glimpses of your work, of your day? And if there's any sense of what you are being called to share not fitting into the boxes of shoulds, of how the marketing experts and social media experts are telling you to show up, then I'm here to tell you that you are the next wave of how things are being shared on social media. The reason you're watching this now and you tuned into this video out of the billions of content that exists on the internet is because you are meant to be creating the new paradigm of content. It's very easy to go into the state of complaining. I see a lot of that on social media. People on Instagram are saying how nobody at Instagram who works there actually listens to their needs, and that it's harder to get seen, harder to build brand, harder to get deals, harder to connect to your community. And the energy of complaint is very much degrading to the energy of creation and giving and generosity and sharing from overflow. And even though it might be the most easy and logical place to go to, I really invite you next time the thought pops up, oh, it's just Instagram. Oh, it's just the algorithm. Oh, it's just the feed. What if there's something deeper than that? And what if you have the power to not even defy it, but create your own way that previously was invisible, a completely different way? I've seen so many people defy all the odds, do things that were completely opposite to what the rules of the industry are, and completely take off. There's so many beautiful examples I can give you. There's a woman called the Cottage Fairy on YouTube who, instead of following the different YouTube formats of videos and doing pranks and like this very fast-paced pop cultural thing, she just started documenting with her phone her life in a cabin in nature and sharing her slow living, making things with her hands, documenting her art, her cooking. And at first, I believe she didn't even show her face. It was just her narrating after shooting content and piecing it together. And if you would have gone to a marketing expert back then and said that this is your business plan, they would have said, no, this is not going to work. I don't think there was a thought through business plan behind what she was doing. I think it was a creation from the soul. And yes, there were strategies added as she went to make a bigger impact. But the most important thing about content is that it starts from your soul, from your essence. And then you can refine the strategy. You can use the outer shell of different social media types of content trends to communicate that. But what I'm seeing happen now is that the outer shell of Reels content, short form video is there, but the essence is missing. So even if everything is right and checking all the boxes of how the content should be presented, there's soul that's missing. And when we watch that kind of content, we leave feeling kind of empty. And we feel like we are mindlessly scrolling, which is the thing that nobody wants to do, but we kind of end up doing just because of how those platforms are designed and how we end up consuming. So my invitation to you is, first of all, get real with yourself. Have you been hiding? Have you paused truly showing up and sharing? And are you waiting it out? Waiting it out until the algorithm changes so you can share photos again, waiting until you get comfortable on camera, waiting until you get a certain amount of followers. What are you waiting for? And once you get real with it, I just want to invite you to let go of that. Because if this is the mindset with which you approach showing up, then your mind will continue finding and hanging on to reasons to not show up fully for the rest of your life. And how silly would it be to look back at the end of your life? What does that sound? Cutting grass. Imagine at the end of your life, somebody asks you what your biggest regret is. And you look back and say, I had all of these things happening internally and in my life externally. And I had so much to share, but I never did. I held myself back. How heartbreaking would that be? And what if you allow yourself to just tune up the volume on how much you allow yourself to show up? If you allow yourself to make mistakes, not do it by the books, let go of all of the rules, throw them out the window, and see how much space opens up for downloads, for medicine, for essence, for remembering, for activations to flow through you. I wasn't sure what I was going to say. I just heard the whisper, turn on the camera, speak. I had a couple of small pointers and directions in which I wanted to go. But most importantly, I had the feeling of what it is that I wanted to create. And I know that if you're meant to receive this right now, you're feeling it inside of yourself. Maybe there's words to explain it, maybe there aren't. But this was meant to be an activation for you to tune up the volume on your essence, on your trust, on defining the rules and norms, expectations, on releasing the shoulds, getting honest with yourself where you've been playing small, and just putting it out there. Not measuring your success, but by how many people comment or message you or DM you. Not measuring by any external metrics. Knowing that every time you share something, you're practicing the muscle of showing up, and trusting that when you do allow yourself to show up from that place of sharing your truth, sharing where you're at, then the right thing will come out of your mouth at the right moment. The right energy will pour through you. This is not so much a teaching, but more so an activation that is meant to share with you codes that activate within you. So make sure you drink a lot of water, you give yourself the time to integrate, and then you create the space to consciously, mindfully, intentionally take action on what I just shared. Because receiving the code is just part of the equation. The most important thing is integrating it in your own way and then putting it out in the world with your own unique flavor and essence, in your own unique light and emanation. The other layer that I'm called to bring into this is when we are in the energy of complaining about the algorithm, when we're blaming things outside of ourselves for us not being able to show up fully, to express ourselves fully, to share gifts, share our services, share our offerings with the world, what we're doing in that moment is energetically, you're giving away all of your power to those external forces by believing that all of the power is outside of you and you're this powerless creator stuck in the system of algorithms and big tech companies, and you don't have that sovereignty, you don't have that power. It becomes your reality every time you come in touch with those social media platforms. So nothing is inherently good or bad. Social media is not good or bad. Instagram is not good or bad. Every company has bad practices, good practices, but it is your choice of the energy that you bring to those platforms. If you bring the energy of blame and complaint and, oh, it's not the same as it used to be, I don't get as many views, and it's all because of the algorithm, where's the energy of that? For me, when I feel into it, it's like low, 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 low underneath the floor. But what if instead you shift it to, all right, I don't understand the algorithm. What if I choose to show up in ways that feel elevating, that feel aligned for me in this moment? What if it doesn't fit into the conventional understanding of how often you should post, what format you should post? And that's okay. What if just for a week you give yourself the permission to show up in whatever crazy way you feel called to? Share what feels alive in your life. Share the lessons and codes moving through you, what feels activated, what you're inspired by, and witness how much creative energy, how much sharing, how much generosity, how much connection will be awakened in that week. Very excited to see what happens. Make sure that you let me know. I always love hearing how all of this is applying in your life, how it's manifesting in your life. And maybe we'll do more of these. We'll see. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you, whoever's cutting the grass.